When in battle, there are two places you don't want to be: deep in a trench while panic struck, or on the losing side of the battle. Which brings me to, what's going on with school reopenings in some of our largest school districts? Last week, while on a Zoom call for a school district, I heard a teacher say, if it wasn't safe to go back to school in the fall, it's not safe now. Who says it wasn't safe in the fall? The same policymakers who thought it was a good idea to put sand in the skate parks? Or police tape around our playgrounds, or our hiking trails, or horse trails? What about lying down on the beach, let alone paddleboarding alone in the ocean? Those are the same policymakers who said it wasn't safe to go back to school in the fall.
We're going to be where we are now until we are done with the election.
Schools began to reopen all around the globe late last summer. As the weeks passed, it turned out that there were some concerns of COVID transmission in the schools. But as scientists and health experts began to review the data, it was determined that schools do not represent an overall danger of increased transmission for COVID. In other words, if there was transmission of COVID, it was happening at the same rate whether schools were open or whether they were closed. Bottom line, if a school has even a basic COVID strategy in place, that should be enough to protect students and teachers from passing the COVID virus.
K through 12 schools can operate with face-to-face learning, and they can do it safely and they can do it responsibly.
I would back the CDC recommendations because that is really based on data. We didn't fully appreciate that early on, but the fact is that when you look at a community and look at the penetrance of the virus in the community and its spread at the community level compared to the school in that community, it's less likely for a child to get infected in the school setting than if they were just in the community.
This as a new CDC report says it's safe to reopen schools after months of COVID closures, with or without vaccinating teachers.
What's the single biggest obstacle when it comes to schools being open?
I think fear, I think trust. I think it's one thing to assert something, it's another to prove something.
While our children continue to feel locked up at home, there has been recorded growth of youth depression, falling grades, deep frustration, anxiety, not to mention a rise in suicidal behaviors. And while this is happening, many of our large school unions have dug in deep into a panic-driven fear, a fear that's not based on the data or the science. Please, it's time to come out of the trenches. The data is out. Don't find yourself on the wrong side of science, or should I say, the losing side of this battle.